Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Thursday the 2nd of May. So, well, non-farms, the FOMC meeting then, has it made things anything clearer? Well, not really. I'm not sure what some traders' expectation, and I'm talking about professional traders, analysts here, what they were really looking at, but there was talk of increases in interest rates. Now we've seen this sort of very outside, very low rate chance of that happening, priced into the market, and yet all of a sudden it was seen as a sort of a more dovish move. The fact that he didn't suggest anyway, it's all gone a bit more crazy than normal by the looks of things. Try to make sense out of it, well, forget that. There is no sense. However, as I've said a short while ago within the trading room, you just got to look at the numbers. I think what a lot of amateurs and a lot of these so-called gurus out there at the moment are they're trying it all the time, second guess what's going on here. We can only trade what's happening. The data is still very mixed. Obviously interest rates aren't falling, inflation isn't falling to the level of expectation, so interest rates will remain for longer, and now it's this continuing guess of when they're going to be cut. It's sort of overtaking anything, and it's leaving us in this sort of mess of a markets overall. Why don't you just trade it as it is for now? Trade the news as it comes out. Play on anyway. Right, there's me ranting. Today, what news we got coming out today? I'm going to look at the simplified process here. So today, numbers for this week's data already. I'm talking about wondering, and apparently it's quite common for them to be shown the data. So they might already see something, hence why they're sort of downplaying things. Who knows? It's all a load of theories, and you don't know until the numbers come out, basically. But traders might be watching this a little bit more. The ADP didn't point to anything too soft. But that never does point to anything useful. Bank of Canada speaker then at 1:45. What's he speaking about? Trying to justify. Okay, so it's more of a fluffy thing. Okay, that's pretty much it. Then of course tomorrow we've got non-farm payrolls, which everyone will be hanging their hat on, and meaning that the markets may be choppy again. Hurrah, it's just what we don't need. Anyway, let's have a look at what we can see technically at least. So we're looking at the euro dollar here. Technically, is it tradable at the moment? It's got this sort of hint of upside potential. It broke all nicely and looks technically that it was going to go and do what it was pointing towards. This data obviously is spoiled any potential there. It's up and down like a yo-yo yesterday and then back up again, and we've got an untouched daily pivot at the moment. Well, maybe if it starts breaking down this morning towards that, that's a bit of a scalpy trade potential. But trading to the upside from here, we've got an obvious resistance level around that 107.33 area where my cursor's sitting at the moment, up in that sort of region. There's supply at that area. It's provided resistance numerous times now. There was supply up there. Of course, a further test might show something different. We have broken out the lows of that range first, so it's come through the lows of the range. It's rebuilt into the range, maybe. But of course, we've got non-farms tomorrow. It could mess it all back the other way. So, scalpy potential, swing potential, not really. At the moment, it's just second guessing. The pound dollar, I guess we always trying to second guess, but second guess with some sort of knowledge and a bit more pattern would help. Pound dollar, not really any different here. It's quite messy. It's not quite to the same extent the euro moved there by looks of things, but when you look at the short time frame, well, I guess it is. There it is. It was the up and down and the up, and well, daily pivot's already been caught again, so that's ruled out on that respect. Hasn't got quite such an obvious resistance point to the upside as I come out here. One thing I'm very aware of is the over extreme selling side of things from the commitments traders reports. Sometimes when that gets such an extreme point of view, we do see a turn to the other side, but I need to see it more technically. For me, it needs to be back above this yearly pivot to be more bullish on the pound. At the moment, with the trend being down, it's bearish. Yes, it's above its weekly pivot, etc. But in terms of wanting to buy this at the moment, it really doesn't, with this price action, draw you in too much, does it? Well, perhaps it does. The US dollar yen untradeable pretty much for me at this stage. Questions coming in: was there more manipulation? How dare I say such a word? But that's probably the long and short of it all. What's happening? Nobody knows here. We've come back for sure to the underside of and tested the underside of the monthly pivot. This is one of those that you want to short because there's the chance that they might intervene some more. But the markets, every time you've that's happened, we've seen the markets come back, work their way back. The natural flow runs back to the upside here, but you got to be a bit lucky to get into this on the right side, and the risk that sits in there with those extra spiky old moves really aren't worth taking the risk on. Aussie dollar. So the Aussie dollar all set up and looked like it was going to roll backwards there. We've now seen it go the other way, and it's looking a little bit more positive potentially. Is this a further wave to the upside here? Possibly. It's got resistance points, so I'll come back to that 4 hourly. It's into that 500. That's a 500 moving average. That purple line, if you can make it out, just fractionally above where price is on this current bar. Looks a bit bearish on the short term here. If we go down to the short term, of course, a lot of these markets have got a bit of divergence in there, or potential if they break the lows between the two high-ish points to give us more confirmed downside. But we'll see how this works out this morning. Again, an untouched pivot here, which if it does catch a bit more selling coming on there, could be a target for later in the day. US dollar CAD, I say later in the day, I was pointing out yesterday how times have changed in terms of some of these movements. I've been doing quite a bit of analysis on the movements of these markets, and it's certainly they've proven what I thought. US dollar CAD, well, we was seeing the CAD strengthen there, of course. Then we've seen this weird old stuff going on this week and coming back again. Again, untouched pivot there, potential for the upside. A break of these lows and really back below the S1 would for me point to further downside. Did I say the S1? It is the S1. Always no, it's here. That's the R1. Beg your pardon. So a break back below that would be really pushing to the downside. But nothing obvious, clear and obvious. Scalp to the upside. Falls to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here we are, stuck in the middle with Jerome. Dailies, New Zealand, US dollar. This of some of the markets possibly looks the cleanest to the downside, but again we've got this jumble that's come in there that did work out its ranges from that ascending channel, but already hit the daily pivot. Maybe if it breaks the highs here, it's got the scope up for its daily R1. Again, very scalpy looking moves, but potential if they start kicking through to the downside. I haven't really got anything from where it sits at the moment. Okay, that's pretty much it there with the likes of the euro yen, the yen pairs. Again, they're very difficult to try and get a trade on, especially on the lower time frames. Bigger time frames where you can make any sense out of this. Good luck to you. I think it's very risky. I know there'll be traders coming in on the short side of this, and yes, they might strike lucky a couple of times, but for the couple of times they strike lucky, I should imagine there'll be numerous times when they're not striking so lucky. The trend is still firmly to the upside here. There's nothing really on the lower time frame. Well, you could argue actually on the intermediate it has put a lower high in, so maybe it's showing the weakness, but upper time frame still firmly upside at the moment. Right, I'm going to leave that there. Let's have a quick look across in terms of the world of gold. This is selling off again this morning, just coming through here. Did manage to get the pop up yesterday, but if you look here, it's struggling into its 50 again. It's had a number of attempts at breaking that 50. I talked again about the sort of the ascending channel that was sitting on this, but that's pretty much worked itself out into May. We'll see it. If anything, this looks a bit clearer on the softer side at the moment. Now again, untouched daily pivot, but I would be looking for something more than that. But just looks that bit soft at the moment. Right, oil, talking of looking soft, we're seeing a bit of a continuation, or seen a bit of a continuation. Yes, it's catching a little bounce at the moment, but this might set us up for something more. Again, yesterday, well, it was sort of 2-3 o'clock where we sort of 3 o'clock actually saw the move coming through. This time it put a bit of a fake move into the 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, so it roll over. This is becoming more likely to be tradable again for me. It's coming back into my more comfort zone for trading, so some potential there. Equity markets, well, they didn't like what they saw yesterday. Look, up and down. This to me is it's funny. I was reading the old selling May and the old saying selling May and go away, but that hasn't worked. I was also reading it hasn't worked for the last 8 years or something, so be wary. Or six out of 8 years, I can't remember. Anyway, whatever it be, looking at this just technically of what's actually happening and not what the old wives' tales or whatever else is going on, it is looking softish here. Cuts in rates coming later than expected. How much extra is that going to put onto the company's reports at the moment? Well, I should imagine with a lot of them reporting recently, they should be pricing in rates holding on longer. Surely they'd have contingencies for longer rates for longer periods. This to me looks like it's, well, certainly in the short term here, selling at this stage, and it still looks soft. It broke the original trend that was running across here. We can't put, this isn't a significant low yet. So what we can do is pop the drawing line onto there, which is a significant low, higher low, because it was we saw the previous high passed. This hasn't, so it is a low, and we're sitting in that low territory. We've had that little bit of spiky noise stuff going on there. This looks on the softer side at the moment. Right, that is pretty much it for me. You want to have a look at the DAX. The DAX, indeed. The DAX also not liking things at the moment. The dailies there looking soft yesterday. Just keep mentioning that double top, of that certainly still playing out there. A break of this quarterly pivot here would give me an expected run down to probably these prior lows here, somewhere on a one-to-one basis of what they've moved at the top end here. But doesn't look particularly bright there at all at the moment, does it? And it looks soft again into the pivot there. That looks like a move at least down towards its quarterly pivot here, maybe down to its daily. It's right, just a bit further down. Right, I'll leave it there for you. I wish you a great day's trading. Trade safely. Take care. Bye for now.